Ladies, gentlemen, welcome back to the shop. Today, I've got some giant chunks of ash, and we're going to be making an end grain cutting board. Here we go. Alright everybody, welcome back to the table saw. These giant chunks of ash that I found outside of my hardwood dealer, he just chucked them in the trash, and I decided to jump in and take them home, bring some life to it, and make this awesome cutting board. So here what I'm doing, when I found these pieces, they had some checks and cracks in them. I'm just using the table saw to cut those out. So after I cut these checks and cracks out, I'm going to go ahead and square up my pieces. The stock that I'm using started at about, I don't know, it was like 1.5 inches thick. And after I cut those checks out, I took the remaining pieces and I just measured my fence away from my blade there, another 1.5 inches. And we're just trying to make them square there. From there, we'll go ahead and we'll move to the joiner. Alright, so here I'm just taking my engineer square and making sure that fence is 90 degrees to my table, and I'm going to just start with the bottom face of these pieces that I'd cut out at the table saw, and I'm just making sure I get one flat face, and then I'll go ahead, take that face, press it up against my fence there, and run the other material through. And I'm going to just continue this as I work down the line there. I've got everything lined up on the bandsaw, kind of in order, and I'm just marking each of the jointed faces with a pencil there. Alright, sweet. So now we've got the planer set up, and I'm just running the other two faces through the planer. So I'm going to just start, I guess, with 1x down at the bottom, and then I'll flip it over, do the other, and everything will be hunky-dory, good and square. Woo! That took a minute. So now we'll move up to the glue up. I'm just using my simple pipe clamps here. I'm just setting the faces down. I'm getting my grain oriented. Anything that looks similar to each other, I'm actually moving it around, and I want it to be as unsimilar as possible. I'm using that Type Bond 3 and my finger to spread the glue, and then I'll just go ahead, clamp everything together, and I'm going to visit it in the morning. Here we go. Alright, good morning everybody. We're getting this thing out of the clamps and just scraping it just a little bit, get that excess glue off, and then we'll be able to throw this through the planer a few times. So I'm just taking really light passes here, just cleaning it up on both sides, and then I'm going to head back to the table saw where I'm going to square that one end. And you see there I've got a clamp set, so I'm going to go ahead and make consecutive cuts at 1.5 inches. So that's how thick this cutting board is going to be. So once we square this up, we'll be able to butt this up against that clamp, and we'll be able to work our way down the line. And then we'll head back over to the bench and get this thing glued up. Alright, so we've got that wax paper down, we've got everything in place. So I'm just staggering the joints here. I don't want them all to line up and look uniform. I want it to have some irregularities, so that's what I did there. And it just makes for a better looking cutting board, I think. So we'll just add 3 clamps, and we're going to wait overnight again. Alright, good morning everybody. So now I'm just taking the clamps off. I'm going to see what kind of damage I need to contend to this morning. So it looked like the glue up turned out wonderfully. I'm going to just grab my scraper here, scrape off any of the excess glue, grab my sander, start sanding with 100 grit, and we'll see how far that takes us. Here we go. This is end grain. So this is probably the most challenging part of this entire project, is getting it sanded smooth and flat. But I took really good care, and I did the best glue up that I could, and I kept everything as even as possible. Trust me, that helps. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab my belt sander. I've got 120 grit in there. I'm going to just clamp it down to my bench, and this makes really quick work of getting all the saw marks off, the burn marks, and getting it nice, level, and flat. So I'm just sanding both sides here. Alright, so I'm back with the orbital sander. I've got 150 grit paper on the sander. Here I'm just grabbing more of that tight bond and filling in the gaps with some sawdust. I didn't have very many gaps. There were just a few checks there on the side, so it was pretty easy to contend with that. Now I'm grabbing my little palm router with a 1/4 inch round over bit, and I'm just hitting all the edges. And then I'm going to grab some 120 paper and finish sanding this. I'm going to just hit all the edges, break all the corners, make sure all the burn marks are off and it's smooth and feels good to the touch. Alright, so now we've cleared the deck and we're ready to put on our finish. I'm just using that Howard's wood conditioner. I think it's going to work great and it's super appropriate for this project. So I'm just going to flood the top with this stuff. I'm going to grab those blue shop towels and just work it in. If it needs more, apply more, but I'm just getting a really good flood coat on there. I'm going to let it sit, soak it up, and then I'll do it again. Ladies, gentlemen, the project is done. This end grain cutting board turned out amazing. The wood that I found was absolutely beautiful. The finish I used was some Howard's wood conditioner that I had. I let it soak in, I applied some more, I let it soak in some more. Tonight I'll probably put another coat on, but this thing is wonderful. Most people put little feet down here at the bottom so it sits up off the counter. I don't want to do that. I'm going to be giving this to my parents, so they usually use both sides of the cutting board, so I've eliminated the feet, and I think we're good to go. Guys, if you like this video, go ahead, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching.
Remember, safety first.
Remember, safety first.
And subscribe to my daddy's channel.
Subscribe to my daddy's channel.